Now, the egg freezing debate. It has exposed the deep fault lines between privilege, access and autonomy, and what society expects from women versus what women want for themselves. Upasana Konadela's comment calling egg freezing the biggest insurance for women didn't just spark opinions, it forced all of us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Reproductive choice in our country is still a privilege, not a right. And that is what is at the heart of this debate. This tension sharpened further when Zoho CEO Sridhar Vembu weighed in urging women to marry young and have children early because it's a demographic duty. His comments reflected a mindset where oftentimes those insulated by wealth, flexibility and support feel entitled to dictate life choices they themselves will never be biologically burdened by or socially judged for. The reality is stark. Egg freezing in India can cost over $1 lakh a cycle and yearly storage fee stacked right on top. For most women, this is not a choice, it's a luxury. For many, reproductive timelines aren't chosen, they're dictated by biology, by family, by affordability, by fear, by the weight of expectations. The public response reveals something powerful though. Women do not want to be told when to have children, not earlier, not later, not ever. They want information, they want access, they want healthcare and the right to decide based on where they are in life, not demographic anxieties. Upasana did later clarify that she wasn't promoting delay, only advocating that options do exist. And on that point, she is right. Reproductive choice should be a right, not a privilege reserved for women with resources. What this entire debate truly shows is that Indian women are now owning their timelines. They're rejecting fixed formulas, they're questioning outdated expectations. And to discuss this further, these are some hard questions that we must confront. It's bigger than this one debate. Should fertility preservation be made more affordable? Can healthcare bridge the privilege gap? And are we ready to accept that a woman's timeline belongs only to her? To discuss this further, I am now joined by Dr. Charuvali Khanna, former member of the National Commission for Women, and also Dr. Kiran Esquello, obstetrician and a gynecologist. Thank you so much for joining me on the Breakfast Club this morning.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Now, Dr. Kiran, let me just come to you first. I want to begin by asking you, of course, we've heard the statements that Upasana Konadela has made. Now, some are saying that it's not correct to talk about choice before we address accessibility, affordability. I just want to begin by asking you what your take on this entire situation is.
Well, we have, made a commitment to Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Now, when we educate women, we are giving them empowerment. Empowerment is not just a word that we should throw it around. Empowerment is the right to choice. And women should be educated on what are the options available. Unfortunately, even though technology is so advanced, biology remains the same. So a woman must know that she has a biological clock. The ideal age for childbearing is actually 20 to 30. Now, who's getting married today? Educated women, I'm talking about. Women who want to have a career and to have a family as well. So who's getting married from between 20 to 30? Very few. But after the age of 30 to 35, ovulation becomes irregular. After the age of 35, it's very irregular. And we are now dealing with aging eggs. So not only is fertilization becoming less, but also the quality of eggs also becoming very low. And therefore, having a baby when you're later increases the chances of genetic defects. So now we have this biological timeline which has remained the same. But the aspirations of women are much more. They are educated. Now, Upasana spoke as a counseling to IIT students. Now, they have given up so much to reach where they are, and they have aspirations. Most women have aspirations. So yes, women should be aware of their biological clock and their time. So many girls come to me in my office and say that, we have all the time in the world. No, we don't. And now science has afforded egg freezing. Companies and IIT companies in the US, they insure their women for egg freezing. So we should have that kind of insurance here, and women should have a choice, but a knowledgeable choice, because with
Right.
it's all very well to freeze
All
your
right.
eggs. The chances of those eggs actually materializing to the baby are quite,
Right, and I will come to
quite there.
that. That's a very
All
important
right.
point that you've raised. I do want to just get into that also, but let me just go across to Dr. Charu as well. I want to talk to you about the same issue. What is your opinion on this entire situation and how it's played out? It is about accessibility, affordability, and it being a right. What's your opinion on this?
See, I think it's a very personal decision, and what we should not be cowed down by societal judgment. But now, if we're talking about the context of the specific quote that she has made, she was addressing IIT students. Definitely, young girls are getting married later, they have aspirations, and when you're studying, each individual, each human being has a dream, and they have the right to fulfill it. But let's be real, finally, the biological clock is ticking, like the doctor said, though I don't totally agree with her to the extent that after 30 to 35, the chances of fetal abnormality are more. If they
After
are more,
40.
I mean, if they are more, we again have science and technology. Science and technology will help us identify those. Like overseas, a lot of women, I know a lot of persons who are having children after 40. I personally myself have had them after 30. So this is again, like I said, a personal choice. And now if you're going to promote to IIT and to educated women that freeze your eggs, you're actually trying to influence them. And this, like the doctor said, there's no 100%, firstly, there's no 100% guarantee, and there's no 100% guarantee that all the embryos will result in a live birth. And it's extremely, extremely painful. And nobody's talking about the financial aspect. It's a very expensive process.
Absolutely, we are going to come to that as well. Dr. Kiran, on that note, this is what I wanted to clarify also, because we are having an honest discussion, and it only makes sense if we really know what we're getting into here. When we talk about egg freezing, what are some of the myths that are associated with it, and what do women need to know about the success rates as well? Because it's not like you can just walk in any time and then you have the solution that will work for you every time. It's not the same for everyone. Everyone's journey is different. So what do they really need to know when they walk in?
Yes, absolutely. They need to know all the facts. Now, I must correct that I said after the age of 35 to 40 is where the eggs are aging. And of course, there are many ways in which we can, of course, identify, and we do, because every woman goes through all these tests for genetic defects. Now, the facts are that even if the ideal age for egg freezing, of course, is when your AMH or your eggs are young. So that is usually at the age from, say, 28 to 32. After that, the eggs start aging. So the ideal age would be around that much. Up to the age of 36, yes, we can freeze the eggs. Now, if the success rates are, you go through a cycle, suppose you get, say, 20 good eggs to freeze. Out of that, ultimately, take-home baby rate when you go through the process of IVF would be just 1 to 2. So the percentage is very low. It's better to freeze embryos, like young married couples who want to delay their childbearing, that you can freeze the embryos, they have a better chance. Number one. Number two is that, biologically we are getting older. So as we get older, to have a pregnancy at a later age, say those girls who are freezing their eggs are looking to have their babies perhaps at the age of 40. Now, at that age, there are so many other problems that the woman goes through. She may have fibroids, adenomyosis. She may have a high-risk pregnancy because of elderly age. She may have diabetes, high blood pressure, complicating pregnancy. So the pregnancy complication in a later age is also there. So all these factors have to be taken into account. Also, the expense. It is very expensive to freeze the eggs. Number one, it starts off with 1.5 and quite more. Then, of course, a yearly fee. And then at the end of it, you may get married young and you may have your babies young, but that is an insurance policy. So what Upasana was saying, it is an insurance policy, but you must know all the facts. It is a very long, drawn out, painful procedure, and you have to have IVF at the end of it. But it is an insurance that, okay, if I see so many, as an infertility specialist, I have so many women coming at 37, 38, 40, wanting to have their own child, and then we have to have donor because their eggs are no longer there, fertile. So for them, those women who are very, very sure, I have so many couples who don't want to get married, who don't want to have kids, and who want to be, double income, no kids. And it's happening all the time. If you practice in urban India, the aspirations of women are so much. And like Andira Nehu said, you can't have it all. In our society, you can't have it all. You have to be a mother, you have to look after your children, you have to be a wife, you have to look after your in-laws, and you have to have a career. Women are doing it all. We can do it here because we have support of family and we have support of good mates, which is not possible in the West. So therefore, women, and I can speak from personal experience, I always advise my patients, get married young, have your babies young, and then have your career. Now in medicine, you can do it. I got married at 24, I had 2 children, and now I have a successful career and my children are doing well. But not everyone is blessed that way. I had the support of my husband. Not everyone is the same. So therefore, I think the facts should be out there. The expense, the pain, but at the same time, the insurance, because these are the girls who at the IIT, when they had the counseling, they said they don't want to get married because they know very well they've reached here, they want a career, and they don't want anyone. So that choice should be with women. So they should be aware, yes, that is there, out there, it is painful, but I have a choice.
Right now, Dr. Char, let me come to you. Thank you so much for mentioning that you did have help, and it really does take a village, and not everyone's situation is the same either. Let's talk about the response to this as well. One thing that really stood out for everyone was a certain CEO saying that you should have kids early, you should get married early. It is our demographic duty. Now, Dr. Chai, let me just come to you and say that. Would you not say that that somewhat crosses into the territory of policing women? And do we really need that?
I think absolutely it's an illogical statement, because if she's making it to young girls who are passing out from IIT, so I'm assuming they'll be in the age group of 24 to 25. So you're starting your life at 25. So is she advocating that they marry immediately, going for an arranged marriage, and then that whole drama which is happening nowadays of, them not getting along? Or because she has studied so hard, because she has succeeded and reached that level and had the support of her parents? Or if she has not, she's had to fight against her parents to make a big struggle to reach that level. Should she, now the time has come for her dreams and aspiration, should she not try for a job and go ahead? And then at that stage, if you're telling me at 28, I should freeze my egg, I mean, look at the financial burden. I've just started my job. I'm not going to be in some $1 million salary unless I've got a legacy, and like in her case, the lady who has advocated this. So that 28 to 32 is very crucial in terms of your career. And I think, you should focus on your career, and having children late is not, I would say there's nothing wrong in it. A lot of people are having, but freezing eggs means you're going to have children maybe at 45, 50. Will you be able to take care of the child at that age? You won't even be able to lift the child, because nowadays youngsters are having back problems sitting in the chair for so long, So how are they going? And with the whole world going online, with virtual meetings, everything happening online, I mean, there are youngsters are developing these problems. So are we expecting a woman at 45, 50 to pick a child and to do parenting as a person in 30s can do? Yes, at the same time, I'm not saying what she said was wrong. What she said was right in her context. She comes from a wealthy family. She had the option. It's a wonderful option because it respects your ambition, your desire, at the same time to build a family and to work. And you don't have to fear the biological clock ticking. I mean, we all say that you don't have to fear the biological clock ticking, but like the doctor said, your biological clock is ticking because your body is aging. We have to accept that. And I just want to clarify, maybe the doctor will be able to explain better. When we're saying that we're talking about the egg and the embryo, The egg is mine. I freeze my egg. Let's assume I get my eggs frozen at 28. But the success rate of embryos, if I'm correct, doctor, the success rate of embryos is higher. Now, what is an embryo? Embryo is the male and female. So at 28, now I catch hold of a guy. I want the embryos. It's something very, unimaginable. I don't know if you have another question about the cost, because if
right, absolutely I do, and there are a lot of logistical challenges, as you mentioned, as well, that comes with it. But when we talk about the cost here, Dr. Kiran, let me come to you. We are also talking about affordability and accessibility here. Why is this still a privilege and not a right? Why is this not a real option that exists for a lot of women? To that end, when we talk about the cost, the medication can cost anywhere between 30,000 to 60,000, storage is another 20 to 50 yearly. These stack up. And as you mentioned, you need an IVF process at the end of it as well, which can again be 1.5 to 2.5 lakh rupees. This is what we're showing on our screens for our viewers as well. Why is it that such alternative measures that do exist are still so expensive, and what can be done to make them more accessible? Because there are a couple of things that I'm able to identify here. One, there is the awareness gap, where we bust those myths that you said are often associated with it. There may be some research gaps, and then there is this gap. Why is it that these certain procedures are still so expensive?
And that they are expensive because they are expensive procedures, of course, and now they are all governed by the PCPNDT Act and the Surrogacy Act and the ART Act. I would say the ART Act, which is now in presence. So costs are actual costs, but there is no insurance, and that is where we lack. I think the insurance, companies should insure women for egg freezing, and then that will bring the cost down, because then they only have to do what is known as a copay. So insurance has to come in to empower women, to give them the option for egg freezing. Now, when we say it's to freeze your eggs, you freeze your eggs when you haven't yet found a partner. So that gives you a timeline to find your partner. You don't have to rush to go and get married, but you have your eggs there, and you have a time now to select your partner. If you've already selected your partner, you've married young, but you want to delay childbearing, then you have embryo freezing. That's number one. So the costs do add up, and the way to bring down the cost is to bring in insurance. Now in India, anything to do with fertility, infertility is not insured, unfortunately. Abroad, most companies will give you insurance for egg freezing. May not be for the IVF procedure, but definitely egg freezing, because they want to keep their workforce. So women should have a choice to have, of course, knowing all the side, but even otherwise, if you want to have your career and then you want to have your babies in the 35 to 40 or 42 onwards, you have to go to an infertility specialist anyway. You have to have assisted reproductive technology. You have to have IVF. You have to have then perhaps donor eggs. So that is also expensive. But by that time, you have already made your money. This is, so that's why she called it an insurance policy. I think every woman should have the right to have that insurance. Okay, that something behind the head that I have an egg waiting, I have an embryo waiting. And that empowers women. And of course, the costs are, if you bring the costs down with insurance, I think that's wonderful. But women should be aware that it's not waving a magic wand. There's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hormonal disturbance, there's a lot of, I would say so many failures to get to that one success.
And not to mention, I'm assuming the mental toll that this can also take on a woman who is trying to conceive. Now, Dr. Charu, let me come to you. What do you think? She's mentioned insurance, and that's a very big aspect of this as well. When we talk about these gaps, what needs to change medically and structurally for us to close these gaps and for it to be more accessible for women, and for women to finally be able to practically own these timelines, not just in theory?
No, absolutely. I think it's a very important debate, because we're talking about accessibility and affordability. And as we see that from whatever the expenses the doctor has explained and the kind of trauma one undergoes, you need some kind of insurance, or you have to be from a very wealthy family. Now, we cannot compare the West with India, because doctor has very rightly used a phrase. She said, they want the workplace, women to continue in the workplace. Like if you'll see these big corporate giants, I don't want to take their names in America, they have food is given, they even should give you bedding, they give you everything. They say just keep working, be a robo. No, if for your ambition you want that life, then that's for you. But when we talk about the general person, a general woman, I mean, we're talking about access and affordability. In a country like India, where primary and secondary healthcare is not accessible to each woman, are we not being in a kind of a dream world or in some kind of utopia that we're expecting that it should be accessibility and affordability for such an expensive process? That maybe we will go towards that, because if women start, at 28, like we said, where you're starting your career, you want to be fit, you want to be mentally fit, otherwise you'll be thrown out of your job. So if you start going through this pain, this process, then there has to be some kind of backup, some kind of insurance. And maybe if women decide that we want to reduce, have less children, we don't want to have children because of, the kind of impact it has on their lives, then maybe the government will rethink their policy and this insurance process will come up. You see, it's all a market demand. If the market demands that, if that's the need, then it will come up. But as my advice, since you have called me on this show, I would say have a child when you feel like, when you're comfortable. Because I've gone through the process. I've had a child at 38. I mean, I've had two, so I spaced them out. Being a working woman and career was very important for me. Have it when you're comfortable. If you're having a problem, go for IVF. And that is the stage when you kind of, start looking at scientific alternatives with technology, whether it's ART or, any other kind of assisted reproduction.
Right, Dr. Kiran, let's talk about this as well, because we were talking about the impact and the toll that it may take on a woman's body and the mental impact of this as well. I really want to understand, women do worry about the hormonal stimulation as well. So what are some of the medically established side effects versus perhaps the more exaggerated fears which are associated with this? Again, tying into the awareness gaps that do exist.
Right. Now, egg freezing is not a very, very painful or cause a lot of hormonal imbalance. When you do it at the right time, between say 28 to 36, then it just entails one cycle. If, of course, you don't have eggs, then 2 cycles, where from day 2, you start having injections. And then by day 14, you have enough of eggs on both sides to do a retrieval. And that's all. Then the next 14 days, you have rest and you're fine. So it basically entails maybe just a month of your life. Okay. And then the eggs are frozen forever. So that is not a problem. The problem is assisted reproduction for older women who are undergoing IVF, maybe donor eggs. That's the problem. So egg freezing is simple. Most of my resident doctors, most of my juniors, almost all the people I know have frozen their eggs, because they say, okay, we have that now, and it's not that problematic for a younger woman. The side effects are very minimal. They may have minimal bloating. They have a little bit of mood swings, etc. Hyperstimulation is not a very big thing in egg freezing. It is for IVF. So in IVF, we're dealing with older women who have problems, and that is very painful, expensive, etc. But egg freezing, no. Not at all.
All right. And with that, we're coming to an end of this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us on the Breakfast Club to have an honest and open discussion about this. This is a very important conversation, and I really want to thank you for joining us early in the morning on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, it's time to slip into a short break. Coming up next after this very short break, the story of the man who has made the divine Ram Mandir flag. We will be bringing you more details on the other side. Do stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Nikul Patel, why wouldn't the Congress party call out the terror empathizers when it comes to, say, your own allies like NC's Mr. Farooq Abdullah, even say Iltija Mufti of the PDP, even Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP? We now, in fact, have voices from within your own party supporting people like Maulana Madani, who perhaps have been availing public and government grants, doing nothing for the minority welfare.
See, I would like to say about one person, that Mehbooba Mufti ji. I think they were also in collaboration with Bharatiya Janata Party once upon a time.
Sure.
That's also has been a question. Secondly, regarding government, if it is not a failure of the government and if innocent people are losing their life, they cannot just tell that, okay, during Congress era, this was the numbers and this were the things were happening. And now
2611 was a terror module that India had never witnessed. So let's talk about why aren't you calling out the kind of terror?
I'm not. Comparison is made by Bharatiya Janata Party rather than accepting the fact that there is a failure of intelligence as well as about what happened up to now everywhere. They cannot say that Jammu Kashmir के बाहर इतने पहली बार हुआ है. देश के अंदर पूरा देश में मोदी जी का राज है,
20 seconds to Tuhin Sinha.
बराबर है.
You know, Akansha, there is a larger point over here. This Congress party, as the Prime Minister says, is the Maowadi Marxist Congress party. And every day they are weakening the security apparatus through their actions. You know, look at the people they honor. The former Chilean president, who in the past has taken a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. Rahul Gandhi goes and meets Ilhan Omar, who again has a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. The moment abrogation 370, Article 370 is abrogated, he goes and meets Jeremy Corbyn in UK, who again has a stated anti-India position on the Kashmir issue.
No, but
so
my
when
problem,
you encourage...
Now we are moving out.
But my problem over here is that why are we even talking about forces which are dividing India outside the country when we have first to address the forces which are dividing the country from within India's soil?
At multiple levels, the Congress party is weakening the security establishment through its very irresponsible and reckless actions.
Perhaps it's time for a unified bipartisan stand to address this kind of extremism that's taking place on our soil, and we cannot afford to. This is the time when the nation needs to stand united in its fight against terrorism. Nikul Patel, why wouldn't the Congress party call out the terror empathizers when it comes to, say, your own allies like NC's Mr. Farooq Abdullah, even say Iltija Mufti of the PDP, even Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP? We now, in fact, have voices from within your own party supporting people like Maulana Madani, who perhaps have been availing public and government grants, doing nothing for the minority welfare.
See, I would like to say about one person, that Mehbooba Mufti ji. I think they were also in collaboration with Bharatiya Janata Party once upon a time.
Sure.
That's also has been a question. Secondly, regarding government, if it is not a failure of the government and if innocent people are losing their life, they cannot just tell that, okay, during Congress era, this was the numbers and this were the things were happening. And now
2611 was a terror module that India had never witnessed. So let's talk about why aren't you calling out the kind of terror?
I'm not. Comparison is made by Bharatiya Janata Party rather than accepting the fact that there is a failure of intelligence as well as about what happened up to now everywhere. They cannot say that Jammu Kashmir के बाहर इतने पहली बार हुआ है. देश के अंदर पूरा देश में मोदी जी का राज है.
20 seconds to Tuhin Sinha.
बराबर है.
You know, Akansha, there is a larger point over here. This Congress party, as the Prime Minister says, is the Maowadi Marxist Congress party. And every day they are weakening the security apparatus through their actions. You know, look at the people they honor. The former Chilean president, who in the past has taken a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. Rahul Gandhi goes and meets Ilhan Omar, who again has a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. The moment abrogation 370, Article 370 is abrogated, he goes and meets Jeremy Corbyn in UK, who again has a stated anti-India position on the Kashmir issue.
No, but
so
my
when
problem,
you encourage...
Now we are moving out.
but my problem over here is that why are we even talking about about forces which are dividing India outside the country when we have first to address the forces which are dividing the country from within India's soil?
At multiple levels, the Congress party is weakening the security establishment through its very irresponsible and reckless actions.
Okay, perhaps it's time for a unified bipartisan stand to address this kind of extremism that's taking place on our soil, and we cannot afford to. This is the time when the nation needs to stand united in its fight against terrorism.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Nikul Patel, why wouldn't the Congress party call out the terror empathizers when it comes to
Welcome back to the Breakfast Club. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We're going to bring you our person of interest now. Today on the Breakfast Club, our person of interest is the man who has crafted a symbol of legacy. Kashyap Mevada is not just an artisan, he is the skilled craftsman behind the flag that will fly atop the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya tomorrow and will be hoisted by the Prime Minister. Let's bring you this conversation. Based in Ahmedabad, Kashyap leads a heritage flag making firm that has been in his family for over 80 years, rooted in tradition and handcrafted craftsmanship. He oversaw the entire creation process of a special 22 by 11 foot Swadeshi flag, built from 3-layered parachute fabric and silk satin threads, materials chosen for their strength and weather resistance, which are able to withstand wind speeds of up to 60 kilometers an hour. This project was deeply personal, painstaking for him. It took nearly 25 days to complete, and the entire process was done by hand by a team of 7 to 8 artisans under his guidance. For Kashyap, this isn't just business, it's a matter of pride for Gujarat and his community. Let's bring him in. Thank you so much for joining us on the Breakfast Club. Now, Kashyap ji, मैं सबसे पहले I want to ask you, आपने ये जो entire जो process undertake किया है, जो flag आपने create किया है राम मंदिर के लिए, ये personally आपके लिए क्या मायने रखता है?
Jai Sri Ram. Basically, we are from Vishwakarma Vansaj family, and we are Mevada Suthar from Gujarat community. So we are already a master class in all of the work because of Vishwakarma Vansaj. और ये हमारे लिए तो बहुत गर्व की बात है कि हमको ये राम मंदिर के लिए ध्वजदंड भी हमने बनाया है और ध्वजा फैब्रिक ध्वजा भी हमने बनाया है और बहुत सारे आइटम्स जैसे डोनेशन बॉक्स है, फिर अलमारी है, कपबोर्ड है, फिर वुडन मोंगेरीज है, वो सब हमने बनाया है
जी। एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये जो फ्लैग है इसके लिए एक स्पेशल तरह का फैब्रिक भी यूज़ किया गया है वेदर और एनवायरमेंटल विद स्टैंड करने के लिए। इसका टेक्निकल रीजनिंग क्या था?
हाँ, वहाँ से भी ब्रीफ था क्योंकि ध्वजदंड जो अभी ध्वज लहराएगा ऊपर तो ऑलमोस्ट 180 फीट ऊपर होगा, तो ऑब्वियसली वहाँ पे एयर और सभी जो सब ज़्यादा होगा वहाँ पे, तो एयर फ्लो ज़्यादा होगा वहाँ पे, तो उसके हिसाब से थोड़ा ये मटेरियल लेना पड़ेगा।
एंड ऑफ कोर्स दिस फ्लैग इट फीचर्स सेवरल सेक्रेड सिंबल्स। ये जितने भी सिंबल्स है ये सारे हाथ से किए गए हैं। विच आर्टिजन्स वर्कड ऑन देम? इनकी एक्सपर्टीज क्या थी इस चीज़ में?
मैम, वो जो कल्प वृक्ष होता है अपने, एक तो वो है इसमें, फिर सूर्य भगवान का चिन्ह है और उसके ऊपर ओम है, वो जो राम भगवान के प्रतीक बोलते हैं इनको।
एंड ऑफ कोर्स आपकी ये फैमिली लेगेसी है, आपने पहले भी फ्लैग्स बनाए, बट ये तो ऑफ कोर्स एक डिफरेंट मोमेंट है। आपको कैसे लगा कि ये प्रोजेक्ट क्यों यूनिक था कंपेयर टू आपका जो अर्लियर प्रोजेक्ट्स आपने लिए होंगे?
पूरे वर्ल्ड में जो अभी राम मंदिर बना है वो इट्सेल्फ बिग अचीवमेंट, क्योंकि पूरे वर्ल्ड में इससे बड़ा मंदिर नहीं है और हमने ध्वजदंड भी इसका बनाया है। तो ध्वजदंड इट्सेल्फ हमारे लिए एक चैलेंज जॉब था और वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड जॉब है, क्योंकि इतना बड़ा ध्वजदंड अभी तक किसी मंदिर में नहीं बना। तो बेसिकली 180 फीट के ऊपर जो रहेगा तो उसके हिसाब से ये ध्वजा भी इसका बड़ा है। 11 फीट बाय 22 फीट लेंथ है इसका, 11 फीट हाइट है, तो उसके हिसाब 4 kg वेट है उसका।
जी, एंड यू मेंशन कि आपको रेगुलरली ब्रीफ्स और अप्रूवल मिल रहा था, फीडबैक भी मिल रहा था थ्रू आउट दिस प्रोसेस। किस तरह का फीडबैक मिला है आपको, क्या तरह की इंस्ट्रक्शंस मिल रही थी?
हमारे लिए तो बहुत गर्व की बात है ये, क्योंकि हमारी जो मेरे कंपनी है वो सिंस 1950 80 इयर्स का एक्सपीरियंस। मेरे ग्रैंडफादर देवचंद भाई और मेरे फादर भरत भाई और मैं 3rd पीढ़ी में हूँ अभी। तो हमारी ये तो बहुत गर्व की बात है क्योंकि हमको ये मौका मिला।
एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये तो हाथ का काम है पूरा। मैं वही जानना चाह रही थी कि हैंड क्राफ्टेड वर्सेस जो मास प्रोड्यूस जो मैन्युफैक्चर्ड फ्लैग्स होते हैं, उनमें टेक्निकली सबसे बड़ा डिफरेंस क्या रहता है?
इसमें मैडम क्या है कि पर्टिकुलर जो हैंडगार्ड वर्क होता है ना, वो उसमें बहुत बारीक हैंडगार्ड वर्क है। पूरा वो जो एम्बोज किया हुआ है, वो अंदर वृक्ष के जो लीव्स है सब, वो सब अलग अलग करके हम लोगों ने हैंडगार्ड वर्क बनाया है उसमें।
एंड ऑफ कोर्स जब ये कल फ्लैग फाइनली होइस्ट किया जाएगा, आपने वो मोमेंट अपने लिए पर्सनली कैसे इमेजिन करा है?
अभी तो मैम हमारे सनातन धर्म के लिए तो बहुत बड़ी बात है। ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर जब ये लहराएंगे तो हमारे लिए भी बहुत गर्व की बात है और पूरे हिंदुस्तान के लिए बहुत गर्व की बात है।
मैं बस रेगुलर अप्रूवल्स और फीडबैक के बारे में आपसे थोड़ा और पूछना चाह रही थी। ओवरऑल नेचर क्या था इस फीडबैक का, किस तरह का रिस्पॉन्स मिला है आपको और आपके आर्टिजन्स को इस चीज़ पे?
हम लोग मैम पास्ट 2 इयर्स से कॉन्टेक्ट मीन्स हमारा बिजनेस चल रहा है राम मंदिर ट्रस्ट और L&T से, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने जब ध्वजदंड बनाया था तब ये 1.5 साल हो गए हम लोग वहाँ पे, तो कंटिन्यूस उनके कांटेक्ट में है। और जब हम लोगों ने ध्वजदंड बनाया था तो उस टाइम पे भी हमारे वहाँ पे बहुत सारे डिवोटीज दर्शन करने आते थे। आपने बिलीव नहीं करोगे कि मेरी फैक्ट्री पे ध्वजदंड रखा था तो उस टाइम पे 1 मंथ और ऊपर 5 डेज इतने दिन तक हम लोगों ने वहाँ पे दर्शन के लिए रखा था ध्वजदंड। तो उस टाइम पे डेली 5000 पर्सन वहाँ पे दर्शन करने आते थे डेली।
एंड ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव अ लॉन्ग फैमिली लेगेसी एज वेल, बट मैं फिर भी जानना चाहती हूँ विद दिस प्रोजेक्ट आपके फैमिली के लिए क्या मीन करता है? डू यू थिंक ये एक तरह से एक टर्निंग पॉइंट हो सकता है?
हमारे तो क्या है कि हम लोगों ने तो बहुत सारी जगह पे काम किया है, ऐसा हमारी पीढ़ी ने तो हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे पावागढ़ में भी काम किया है, वो भी बहुत बड़ा मंदिर है। फिर बेसिकली वी आर हम लोग भी रिलायंस के भी काम कर रहे हैं। रिलायंस में जहाँ भी मंदिर बनते हैं, वन तारा, गिर तारा, फिर जामनगर में सब ग्रीन में हमने काम किया है मैम।
ऑल राइट, एंड ऑफ कोर्स जब हम आर्टिजन्स की बात करते हैं, जब हम हैंडक्राफ्टेड काम की बात करते हैं, आपको लगता है कि इस फ्लैग के थ्रू आर्टिजन्स इंडियन हैंडक्राफ्ट वर्क को ज़्यादा रिकग्निशन भी मिलेगी?
और इससे हमारे जो वर्कर्स है उसको भी आगे जाके बढ़िया प्लेटफॉर्म मिलेगा और हमको भी आगे जाके बहुत बढ़िया प्लेटफॉर्म मिलेगा कि हम लोगों ने कर दिखाया ऐसा मेक इन इंडिया में बना के। क्योंकि ध्वजदंड itself 42 feet और इसका weight 5100 kg था.
All right. Perfect, Kashyap ji. Thank you so much for joining us on the Breakfast Club. आपसे बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगा. Thank you so much. All right. Switching gears to the auto world now, Toyota has pulled the covers off the all-new Corolla concept at the Japan Mobility Show 2025, giving its legendary badge a futuristic reboot. Sleeker, smarter, more electrified than ever, it marks Toyota's next big step in everyday mobility. Overdrive brings us the verdict.
Now, if I were to tell you that this was a Corolla and you hadn't seen the headline of this video, you wouldn't believe me. But this is exactly what the new Corolla will look like. It's coming in the near future. And Toyota has gone, as you can see, in a completely different direction. It's no longer that safe, secure sedan that we like and just tend towards if we want an easy car to live with. It's become much more stylish. And just the details are quite fascinating. Now, you have a lot of the lighting elements that are going on here, which give this... It looks a bit like that new Prius that's there in many international markets of the Toyota or the Camry that we have in India. But as you can see, with all the angles and shapes, it's been exaggerated even further. But you have some really nice details as you keep coming closer. For example, the wheels are very large. Yes, you might put it down to it being a concept. But even in the real world, I'm pretty sure it'll be those large wheels. And just the silhouette, as you can see, it's this fastback kind of coupe-ish shape. You wouldn't call it a regular sedan. For example, you have this very smart charge indicator here. I'm guessing it will be a plug-in hybrid and an EV. I'm pretty sure Toyota will work at giving you as many powertrain options as they can. Now, we don't have much of those details right now. Now, if you come towards the back, again, it has the shape of, say, the Toyota Mirai, that fuel cell car, which looks very sporty, very elegant in that sense. And yeah, again, at the rear, you have this very kind of cockpit-like arrangement, this bubble kind of thing, which gives you like a kind of spaceship vibe. I'm pretty sure it's been done to reduce drag. But this is where things again get quite interesting. You have this very distinct full-width lighting, this kind of spoiler effect, and you won't mistake it for anything other than a Corolla. Now, this is the cabin of this Corolla concept. Now, as you can see, it's again very different from what you've seen so far in a Corolla. Yes, you'll say that this is a concept, but generally the kind of theme and layout that you might expect, you have this very driver-focused kind of arrangement. If you look at the steering wheel, it's got a lot of these capacitor panels, this very minimalistic driving sort of display. A lot of the controls are right here in front of you. And then there's no central screen. If you notice, the passenger has their own separate screen. And I'm assuming there'll be an EV version considering how the floor is so flat and you have a lot of those open kind of spaces that you find in EVs these days. So yeah, again, a big departure from what you know a Corolla to be. Now the back, to be honest, the overall space is not very different from what we know of in a Corolla. But again, a lot of the sort of effects have been changed. For example, look at how far that windscreen comes. Yes, it doesn't have a panoramic sunroof, but the windscreen itself comes halfway to the car. And you have these charge ports here, a lot of those touch buttons for the doors, frameless doors. So yeah, overall it's going, and that overall shape is going to make this one of the sportiest Corollas we've seen ever. Now, it's highly unlikely that we'll see this new Corolla in India, considering we've sort of fallen out of love with sedans. But what do you think, if Toyota were to bring the Corolla here in this form, would you pay about 30 to 40 lakhs for it, say below the Camry in the Toyota lineup? Let us know what you think.
All right, and big changes for Team India. KL Rahul takes over as captain for the ODI series against South Africa, with Shubman Gill ruled out due to a neck injury. Rishabh Pant named vice captain, Jadeja returns, and youngsters Tilak Verma and Ruturaj Gaikwad get their chance. Take a look at this special report.
The BCCI on Sunday announced India's squad for the upcoming three-match ODI series against South Africa, marking several notable changes and new opportunities for emerging talent. With regular skipper Shubman Gill ruled out due to a neck injury, KL Rahul has been appointed captain for the series while Rishabh Pant will serve as his deputy. Pant, who recently returned to international cricket after a brief injury layoff, now finds himself in a key leadership role as India continue to shape their white ball structure ahead of a highly competitive season. Shubman Gill suffered the injury during the first test against South Africa in Kolkata and was forced to retire hurt during his innings. He did not take the field in the remainder of the match and was subsequently ruled out of both the second test as well as the ODI series. The 26-year-old is currently in Mumbai undergoing medical assessment. With Gill unavailable and Shreyas Iyer also missing, the selectors have turned to youth and versatility by including Tilak Verma and Ruturaj Gaikwad. Both are seen as long-term investments in India's middle order and will have an opportunity to make a strong case for permanent selection. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, the stalwarts of Indian cricket, are expected to strengthen the top order, while Yashasvi Jaiswal may get a chance to add to his single ODI appearance. Ravindra Jadeja, returning to the ODI setup, replaces Akshar Patel, who misses out after the Australia tour. Jadeja joins Kuldeep Yadav and Washington Sundar to form India's three-pronged spin attack. India will, however, be without experienced pacer Mohammad Siraj and spearhead Jasprit Bumrah, both rested after the demanding test series. The pace department will instead feature Arshdeep Singh, Prasidh Krishna and promising youngster Harshit Rana. Nitish Reddy also remains a part of the squad as Hardik Pandya continues to recover from injury and remains unavailable for selection. The ODI series begins on November 30th in Ranchi, followed by the second match in Raipur on December 3rd and the final ODI in Visakhapatnam on December 6th. After the conclusion of the 50-over leg, India and South Africa will move into a 5-match T20I series, a crucial phase as both teams prepare for a tightly packed international calendar and begin early planning for the upcoming ICC T20 World Cup.
And the most awaited Family Man Season 3 released on Prime Video on the 21st of November, and in an exclusive chat with CNN News 18 show Shastitas Chaudhary, actor Jaideep Ehlawa, directors DK and Tushar Seth and writer Suman Kumar, they spill the beans on Manoj Bajpayee's wicked sense of humour. Take a look.
Hello everyone, welcome to News 18. I'm sitting with Team The Family Man 3. Hello everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Last minute post-production.
No, post-production is all done. Deliveries, everything's done. The baby has been handed over to Amazon and the technical teams there. So there's nothing we can do other than come here and promote.
That's true. I was just speaking to Raj and he said that when you are coming with multiple seasons of a show, that too a show like The Family Man, which is like a legacy show now, there is always this expectation from you ki you have to make it bigger. You have to amp up the scale. But he said that, but for us, we wanted to keep the soul of the show intact that we always knew. So do you also agree with this? Are there sometimes also external pressures to keep bada banao isko aur bada banao?
Yeah, sure. But you can make a big scale film in one room. So scale, I don't know what scale means, bigger budgets. Like we'll blow up, choppers, whatnot. That's not scale to me. Scale to me, because I speak strictly as a writer, is scale is how do you make the stakes for your protagonist higher. So the story can happen very well in one room or one building. So I think we have, when people say scale, they mean budget, right? So I don't entirely, have we upped the stakes for this time in terms of Srikanth Tiwari's journey this time? Yeah, we sure have. But I think we kind of use higher budget and scale interchangeably. I don't think should be the case. There are many movies that have great budgets, but
True.
don't cut it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to add something?
No, I mean that's fine, yeah.
No, he was...
No, I mean, of course there is, when you were coming with a new season, you, like Suman sir said, the stakes need to be higher. but you have to still maintain the quality that is there from season 1 and season 2. And what Raj sir said, you have to also ensure that the sort of what do you say? It's still a very rooted sort of a story. It's a middle class man's story. So you have to keep that intact, and then try and tell the story in a much more sort of a more dramatic and much more fun, make it a little more fun for the audience.
Nikul Patel, why wouldn't the Congress party call out the terror empathizers when it comes to, say, your own allies like NC's Mr. Farooq Abdullah, even say Iltija Mufti of the PDP, even Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP. We now in fact have voices from within your own party supporting people like Maulana Madani, who perhaps have been availing public and government grants, doing nothing for the minority welfare.
See, I would like to say about one person, that Mehbooba Mufti ji. I think they were also in collaboration with Bharatiya Janata Party once upon a time.
Sure.
That's also has been a question. Secondly, regarding government, if it is not a failure of the government and if innocent people are losing their life, they cannot just tell that, okay, during Congress era, this was the numbers and this were the things were happening.
2611 was a terror module that India had never witnessed. So let's talk about why aren't you calling out the kind of terror?
I'm not. Comparison is made by Bharatiya Janata Party rather than accepting the fact that there is a failure of intelligence as well as about what happened up to now everywhere. They cannot say that Jammu Kashmir के बाहर इतने पहली बार हुआ है. देश के अंदर पूरा देश में मोदी जी का राज है.
20 seconds to Tuhin Sinha.
बराबर है.
You know, Akansha, there is a larger point over here. This Congress party, as the Prime Minister says, is the Maowadi Marxist Congress party. And every day they are weakening the security apparatus through their actions. You know, look at the people they honor. The former Chilean president, who in the past has taken a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. Rahul Gandhi goes and meets Ilhan Omar, who again has a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. The moment abrogation 370, Article 370 is abrogated, he goes and meets Jeremy Corbyn in UK, who again has a stated anti-India position on the Kashmir issue.
No, but
so
my
when
problem,
you encourage...
Now we are moving on.
But my problem over here is that why are we even talking about forces which are dividing India outside the country when we have first to address the forces which are dividing the country from within India's soil?
At multiple levels, the Congress party is weakening the security establishment through its very irresponsible and reckless actions.
Perhaps it's time for a unified bipartisan stand to address this kind of extremism that's taking place on our soil, and we cannot afford to. This is the time when the nation needs to stand united in its fight against terrorism.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Nikul Patel, why wouldn't the Congress party call out the terror empathizers when it comes to, say, your own allies like NC's Mr. Farooq Abdullah, even say Iltija Mufti of the PDP, even Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP?
And now we bring to you a special segment on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing and business insights. Now, Indian markets are likely to open higher based on the GIFT Nifty data. US markets closed higher on Friday, discounting news of a delay in rate cuts. And the positive sentiment can help Indian markets. Asian markets are trading marginally higher in the early morning trades. Gold futures are trading lower, while oil futures are in the positive territory in derivatives market as well. The hotel industry is demand is expected to grow at a healthy 10.5% CAGR over the next few years. Rising income levels, improved infrastructure and connectivity are the supporting factors here. Supply is expected to trail demand, growing at a lower CAGR of 8.4%. The demand-supply mismatch is expected to sustain pricing growth and the industry upcycle. Also log into Money Control Pro to find out more about the hotel sector and other actionable insights on markets. It's the premier destination for all the investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control. All right, and with that, we're going to call it a wrap on this edition of The Breakfast Club. Do stay tuned for more such stories and insightful discussions. Thank you so much.
Putting India on the map is close to achieving the impossible. 45 years.
As we count down to Indian of the Year 2025.
Then this man is a world champion at the age of 18. It's an amazing achievement. At this stage, reinventing himself. He brought back a hero who was not even known.
India's most eminent personalities discuss and debate to choose the invincible icons of the year.
It might not be the world watching him, but he's definitely bringing India out there.
Who will be crowned Indian of the Year 2025? RP Sanjeev Goenka Group presents CNN News 18 Indian of the Year 2025, 28th November, 6 p.m. onwards. Presented by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Growing Legacies, Wardrobe Partner, Reed & Taylor, Bond with the Best, in association with HDFC Sky, Make Money Matter, Explore More, Express More, LIC, Har Pal Aapke Saath, Polycab, India's safe, happy connection, and Reliance Industries Limited.
Nikul Patel, why wouldn't the Congress party call out the terror empathizers when it comes to, say, your own allies like NC's Mr. Farooq Abdullah, even say Iltija Mufti of the PDP, even Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP. We now, in fact, have voices from within your own party supporting people like Maulana Madani, who perhaps have been availing public and government grants, doing nothing for the minority welfare.
See, I would like to say about one person, that Mehbooba Mufti ji. I think they were also in collaboration with Bharatiya Janata Party once upon a time.
Sure.
That's also has been a question. Secondly, regarding government, if it is not a failure of the government and if innocent people are losing their life, they cannot just tell that, okay, during Congress era, this was the numbers and this were the things were happening.
2611 was a terror module that India had never witnessed. So let's talk about why aren't you calling out the kind of terror?
I'm not. Comparison is made by Bharatiya Janata Party rather than accepting the fact that there is a failure of intelligence as well as about what happened up to now everywhere. They cannot say that Jammu Kashmir के बाहर इतने पहली बार हुआ है. देश के अंदर पूरा देश में मोदी जी का राज है.
20 seconds to Tuhin Sinha.
बराबर है.
You know, Akansha, there is a larger point over here. This Congress party, as the Prime Minister says, is the Maowadi Marxist Congress party. And every day they are weakening the security apparatus through their actions. You know, look at the people they honor. The former Chilean president, who in the past has taken a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. Rahul Gandhi goes and meets Ilhan Omar, who again has a very open anti-India stand on the Kashmir issue. The moment abrogation 370, Article 370 is abrogated, he goes and meets Jeremy Corbyn in UK, who again has a stated anti-India position on the Kashmir issue.
No, but
so
my
when
problem,
you
okay.
encourage...
Now we are moving on.
But my problem over here is that why are we even talking about forces which are dividing India outside the country when we have first to address the forces which are dividing the country from within India's soil?
At multiple levels, the Congress party is weakening the security establishment through its very irresponsible and reckless actions.
Okay, perhaps it's time for a unified bipartisan stand to address this kind of extremism that's taking place on our soil, and we can